Chullin, page 65, 6 lines from the top of the page. Few words of introduction. In the past several days, we discuss the kashrut of ofot, of birds, and what we understand that there are two very important entities involved with kashrut of birds, for chicken, even by some turkey. Number one, it's called masoret. You all know the song, tradition, tradition, it's all by tradition. Yes, it carries great weight in this matter, meaning as much as we like to expand the kashrut to many ofot tehorim, pure birds, but if we do not hold a reliable source of kashrut, as the Ramban tells us, ish mipi ish, dor mipi dor, one generation to the next, then we cannot eat those potentially pure kosher birds, only if it's a reliable source for them. Number two is called simanim. We explained in the past several days that if we go by our Torah, we have only via negativa, we only have 24 not pure, not kosher, enumerated birds in our Torah. The kosher one needs to have, which call arbat asimanim, the 4 special sign of tahara. 4 sign of tahara, we call it tradition that received since our forefather, our prophet of the prophets, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, halacha leMoshe miSinai, transmitted from Moses to us. And we enumerate these 4 clearly. We need to have the bird, that it's the process of drisa, and we explained several times that there are several avenues. What does that mean? Some hold, we go by, for example, Tosfot that said that the birds ate its prey while it's still alive, or another form of drisa is the way that the Rambam has said that they use the nail to eat it. There are other avenues which we discuss later, but the key is that's one siman. Then we have the other simanim, which are the finger, eitz bayetera, apparent extra finger either at the front or in the back. The zefek, the one who transmitted the food to the animal's intestine, and then the peeling, the kurkevan niklav. So in short, we explained so many times in the past several days, that's the 4 simanim. Now, a little bit about halacha leMoshe miSinai. The Torah said you have a numerous of species when it's come to birds. Yet, we're going to spell out the 24 non-kosher one. The rest, why you need the 4 halacha leMoshe miSinai, we can use these beautiful Nachmanides, the beautiful Ramban that tells us in Parashat Kodashim. He tells us that when it's come to peirot orla, as we know when it's come to fruits, so there are 3 years period that we are prohibited to eat it. The Rambam said that it carries eres, it carries a venom, some type of poisoning that expire by the end of the 3rd year. Those years they disputed the Ramban over that. Nowadays, with all the researchers, it turns out that the old Rambam, about 700 years ago, was right. So in that conjunction, we have halacha leMoshe miSinai, tradition that we believe transmitted since Moses went on Sinai, and that tradition said that the requirement for us to eat those birds is 4 sign of purity. You may ask a question like Arugot Abosem asked, how about turkey? And we explained the past several days that the challenge with turkey, it's because as far as we know, the origination is from United States, which is only a couple of 100 years old, transmitted to England South Africa and more. But the key is, nowadays we said it's fine. We're going to elaborate on the variation of issue of Turkey. But the key is, you need to have first and foremost the Masoret, the tradition that goes back so many years, in addition to Arbaat Simanei Tahara, the fourth sign of purity. The late rabbi of city in Galicia called Shiniva, he asked a question in one of his responsa. It was a bird that have a very weird appearance. In one hand, it looks like our common modern days bird, yet it was way taller and way the size of the bird, the length, is a question. So he said, even we have the simanim, for example, the whole four needs we just mentioned, but you see something weird, something different, we cannot permit that bird because we do not have the Masoret. So again, that shows us the importance. We're going to talk also about Achilat Chagavim. And that type of question of Chagav, it's a question that poses through our generation. A good example is the story that happened in Israel at the era of the World War I. And this is a time that great famine, great poverty took place in Israel. And by the same time they have locusts, like Makat Arbe, one of the plagues in Egypt, that they have tremendous locusts there. And the question they ask, do we have any masoret, do we have any tradition that we can base on that tradition and allow people who have a great starvation to eat? And there are responsa that dealing with variation of arbe, and if you can use it. Is another source is the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, the great rabbi of Morocco. One of his books is called Pre-Torah. And he discussed in the Moroccan Jews at that time, they have different type of locusts and chagavim, and he argued that the one that they have in their tradition is those chagavim, those some type of locusts that the wings come from the heads, not from the body. And he argues that if it's not separate from the body, their tradition is not to eat it. And he asked, or even prohibited his community in Morocco not to eat it. And Moroccan Jews will tell you that in his time, the era of Rabbeinu Chaim ben Attar, the great Or HaChaim HaKadosh, those plagues of locusts stop because they follow his instructions. So as you see, this is a fascinating subject. The whole idea of clothing the dores, the purity and impurity. Some rabbis said that we have the tradition from the first man, from Adam. Some said from Noah, some said for other sources. But the tradition is crucial. So what we learn is we need to have first and foremost the tradition, a reliable source from one generation to another. Two, we need to have the fourth sign of purity, and obviously not to be part of the 24 impure animal that the Torah, birds that the Torah enumerated. Okay, here we are, page 65, 6 lines from the top of the page. Aval amru chachamim, the sages teaches us, kol of hadores tameh, that any bird, that any type of bird that claws its prey and eats it is not kosher. Several points. If you remember, on page 59 of the Mishnah, we expanded that. So now we just do the vignette, the abbreviation. Rashi tells us in his interpretation of the Mishnah that the bird hold its prey with his nails and uplifted the prey from the ground. On 62, Rashi said that the bird put his nail and foot on the food, hold it in his foot, and then come to his mouth in one shot. That's also the Rambam. Tosfot indirectly speaks about cruelty, but he talks on page 61, Tosfot, that while the prey is still alive, which sounds awful, right? The bird's eat it is not waiting until its prey die. I digress for a second, with your permission. This go back to late 80s. So I went to Japan, and I went to Osaka, South Japan, and then I was in Kobe. I couldn't sleep, the time chain and everything else, so I went out of the hotel. It was like a waterfront, and about 3 in the morning, you see all these Japanese fishermen collecting all those fish, and they have fun, and they bring all their stuff to the from the boat to the dock. And it's like today, I never forget that. They standing there, they hold the small fish like the sardine and eat it while they're still alive. I couldn't eat that breakfast that morning because it was like almost traumatized. But back to our subject, here we talk about bird that eats its prey while it's alive, Tosfot said, without even waiting for the prey to die. Said it from Rabbeinu Tam, Rabbeinu Yonatan Milunin said it. The Ra'ah and the Rambam also speak about different type of the bird take his nail, noetz betziponav, he take it inside the prey. It's part of taking care to make sure, and then he eats it. So anyway, there is a very interesting Ha'ari HaKadosh, on behalf of the Ha'ari HaKadosh. They said, we enumerate in the Torah the 24 non-kosher birds, and we have the 4 simanim, the 4 sign, because the Torah said, Kol tzipor tahor tochelu, any tzipor, any bird that is pure, you shall eat. So they said on behalf of the Arizal, that if you go by the remes, by the indirect text, for every second letter of the tzipor, and you look at the simanim, so we have siman etzba. We mentioned one of the 4 simanei tara is the finger, either before or beyond, right? Extra. So if you go by the word tzipor, right? So what is going? The first one is tzaddik, right? And then you have pei, which is the second letter of the tzipor. Then you have vav, and then you have reish. So let's think. Yeah. So the first one is tzaddik. So the second letter is kuf, which is kur kevan, one of the 4 simanei Torah. Then you have pei, right? And pei is the etzba, right? And then you have vav. The next letter is zayin, which is a zefek. And then you have reish, which is the dores, right? Is the reish. Anyway, don't remember offhand, but the idea is that the word tzipor, the second letter of tzipor, applies to the 4 simanei Torah. That's the famous Arizal. Anyway, Tanya Rabban Gamliel Omer, דורס ואוכל בידוע שהוא טמא. And here are the enumeration of the list. A bird that clothes his prey and eats it is certainly non-kosher. 1. יש לו אצבע יתרה, he has an extra digit. וזפק, and crop, וכור כיוון, okay, so again, דורס ואוכל, claw its prey and eat it, אצבע יתרה, extra digit, זפק, crop, וכור כיוונו נגלף, and gizzard can be peeled. So all these four סימנים make it kosher, בידוע שהוא טהור. Now, רבי אלעזר ברבי צדוק אומר, מותחים לו חוט של משיכה, אם חולק את רגליו 2 לכאן ו2 לכאן, טמא, 3 לכאן ו1 לכאן, טהור. So רבי אלעזר, son of רבי צדוק, says, one stretches a line and the bird perches on it. If it splits its feet on the line with 2 digits here and 2 digits there, it is non-kosher. If it places 3 digits here and 1 there, it is possibly kosher. רבי שמעון בן אלעזר אומר, כל עוף הקולט מן האוויר טמא. רבי שמעון בן אלעזר says, any bird that catches food out of the air is non-kosher. ציפרת, the Gemara here interjects and said, ציפרת נמי מקלטה קלטה. But the ציפרת, which the Taz explains that it's also some type of tahor, some species of kosher bird that they knew it in those days. You see it in the Ramban in Vayikra 14. See the Taz also expand on that. So that's get the food, catches food out of the air. That's the Pri Megadim expand on that. So, and it is kosher. So how you tell me that that's a sign of impurity? So Amar Abaye, kolet ve'ochel ka'amrinan. Abaye said what we said that this only for a bird that both catches and eats his food in the air. The tziparta apparently lends before eating what it has caught. As we said, those who have time, there is a beautiful Taz and Pri Megadim on that. אחרים אומרים, שכן עם טמאים טמא, עם טהורים טהור. So there are others said, if a bird dwells among non-kosher birds, it's not kosher. If it dwells among the kosher, it is. So this is something that big challenge. The responsa, Meshiv Davar, and you see it also in Minchat Yitzchak, Maramshik, and many others, say that that's a not final principle. In general, it can say even a people, a person that dwells among certain people, it's influence him or her. But, so in other words, they try to say that it's not a final, it's serious possibility. That's what most of the rabbis said. Anyway, Keman, Rabbi Eliezer. So, according to which opinion האחרים hold? So they said Rabbi Eliezer, the Tani Rabbi Eliezer אומר, לא לחינם הלך זרזיר אצל עורב, אלא מפני שהוא מינו. Is a famous statement we learned yesterday. Rashi referred to us that that the zarzir, not for nothing, went and been together with the crow, with the raven. Why? Because it is the same species. So the Levar ask, so why? How about other species that goes and been with others? So Levar said that the hadgasha, the emphasis here is a lemino. Otherwise, it's only zarzir and the orev and the crow. So Gemara rejected and said, "Afilu tema rabanan shachen v'nidmei ka'amrinan." Even you said that this opinion introduced with the word. Others say it's like that of the sages who disagree with Rabbi Eliezer and deem the zarzir kosher. The statement introduces with the word others say. So that's basically understood as follows. We say that a bird is non-kosher whenever it both dwells with a non-kosher bird and resembles it. So the zarzir, though, does not resemble the crow. And as we said, there's a lot of discussion. You see the Argot HaBosem, Darkei Tshuva, others discuss Tarnegol Hodu, which we call the turkey. So one of the argument you see in Darkei Tshuva, he asked, well, they mizdavgim torim. That this, whatever you call it, Tarnegol Hodu, it's a mate with other species. So is that a sign? And Darkei Tshuva rejected that. But in general, the key problem is that it doesn't have much masoret. It's from United States, England, South Africa. So yes, most of the rabbis, is a Tshuva of Moshe Weisblum, said it's okay, but not everyone goes by that, because one of the issues in Tarnegol Hodu in Turkey is the masoret. Grasshoppers. Ooh, that's a biggie. I told you about Orach Chaim HaKadosh, right? Morocco. Anyway, ובחגבים למשנה said, כל שיש לו 4 רגליים ו4 כנפיים וקרצולים, וכנפיו חופין את רובו. רבי יוסי אומר ושמו חגב. So the Mishnah says, and with regard to grasshoppers, any grasshoppers that has 4 legs, 4 wings, and 2 additional jumping legs, and whose wings cover most of its body, it's kosher. My rubo. So the question is, what consider most of its body? Omar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, rov orko. So Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav that it's most of its length. Ve'amrela, there are those who say that what he meant to say, rov hekeifo, most of its circumference. So Rav Papa Pasken halacha rules. Omar Rav Papa hilkach be'inan rov orko be'inan rov hekeifo. So therefore one must satisfy both versions of the statement. So we require that the wings cover most of its length, and we also require that they cover most of its circumference. And as we said, that it's a well-known story about a early time of Israel. The early 1900s was the World War I broke in the Israel, you call it Palestine at that time. It was great famine. And they have those locusts, those different grasshoppers that approach the country. And there's many great rabbanim dealt with this issue because people are hungry, they need food. And it's a question of the tradition if some of the grasshoppers or some of the locusts can be eaten, and it's all depend upon the masoret, the tradition. Now, the kartzulim, the Torah, call it kra'aim, tanu rabanan. Ein lo achshav, a grasshopper that has no wings now, ve'atid legadel la'achar zman, but will grow them after a time. For example, kegon hazachal. So it means that later on its growth is permitted, mutar. Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Yossi omer asher lo kraim. The Torah said in Leviticus 11, asher lo kraim, which have no joint legs. So the word lo written with the letter aleph, meaning na, asher lo with aleph kraim, so that it can be understood as do not have jointed legs. אף על פי שאין לו עכשיו, ועתיד לגדל לאחר הזמן. Even though there are no joints leg now, but will grow, then after the time, it's still kosher. My zachal, what is the meaning of the zachal? Amar Abaye is from the Aramaic, used the word askerin. Askerin, or Rashi said iskera. Tanu Rabbanan. The Torah said in Leviticus 11 verse 22, את אלה מהם תאכלו, את הרבה, etc. This of them you may eat, the הרבה of its kind, etc. The full text is said, ואת הסולעם למינהו, the סולעם after its kind, ואת החרגול למינהו, ואת החגב למינהו. So the הרבה is what? הרבה זה גובי, סולעם זה ראשון, חרגול זה ניפול, חגב זה גדיין. So that's the word in Aramaic. מה תלמוד לומר למינו, למינהו, 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 4 פעמים? Why we said after its kind 4 times? It is to include להביא ציפורת כרמים, ויוחנה ירושלמית, וארצוביה, והרז razvonit. So it's time to include 4 similar species: the vineyard bird, the Jerusalem, Yohana, the Artsuvia, similar to Hargol, and razvonit, which are also kosher. The way Rabbi Ishmael Tana. In the Beit Midrash of the Rabbi Ishmael, they teach us as follows: Elu klalei klalot ve'elu pratei pratot. So if you look at the psukim, so when you have the appearance of the phrase after its kind, the verse are generalization, and these species mentioned explicitly are details. So because it's a detail, we have this principle of Rabbi Ishmael, klal uprat, prat uklal, klal ufrat uklal. So all these principles, we have that these species mentioned explicitly are details. Rashi here struggled with that. He said, here's Rashi, Hanach lemuneu lav parteninu, כדקאמר, דלא מרב בי אלא מינה דכל חד אלא כלל איננו. So the principle generalization, ויש כאן כללי כללות ופרטי פרטות. And Rashi struggled with that, and he used the word כלומר, כללות הבאים אחר כללות שלא לצורך. So I think that's what Rashi struggled, how this match with the principle of Rabbi Ishmael, because the verse must be understood in light of the previous verse, which offers general signs of a kosher grasshopper. So the two verses together are a generalization and a detail and a generalization in the following manner. And that's what they said. Tano elu klalei klalot ve'elu pirtei pratot, arbe ze govai lemiно. So he said that the first verse is a generalization. They use the word arbe, is a detail referring to the species of govai. And the phrase after its kind, lemino, is another generalization. So according to Rabbi Ishmael hermeneutical principles, the second generalization serves to include a case similar to the details. In this case, the phrase after its kind, lemino, lehavi, it serves to include 65b, tziporet kramim, a vineyard bird, which is similar to the arber in that its forehead is not smooth but has some hairs. So the Gemara here said that it's some type of grasshopper. The Gemara in Shabbat, page 90b, said, Hamotzi ציפורת כרמים בין חיה בין מתה כלשהו, מהי ציפורת כרמים? אמר רב פליה ביארי. אמר רבי הוא משתכח בדיקלה דחד נברה ועבדילה לחוכמה. So the Rashi said פליה ביארי כך שמו. So the place is in the mountain, נושאת את עיניה, the bird raise a hand, it's מול ההרים, across from the mountain. It's like the psalm, אשא עיני אל ההרים. There's a book called ברכת אברהם, על פרק שירה. So he explains that that's the idea of אשא עיני אל ההרים, that one should say if he's looking for שידוך before the end of אלוקי נצור, that the same as כרמים, נושאת וחולת בכרמים, as the Gemara said in תענית 26b, that's the way they did in ירושלים. אין לי אלא הבא ואין לו גבחת. הבא ויש לו גבחת מניין. So I have derived only that species that come before a person and does not have a smooth forehead is kosher. From where we derive that even one that comes before a person that have a smooth forehead is kosher. Talmud Lomar, the verse states in Leviticus 11 verse 22, Sol Am, Ze Nipol, it's Nipol which has a smooth forehead. Lemineu, Leavi eta ushkaf. After its kind, that follows Solam, is another generalization which serves to include a case similar to the details, which is the ushkaf, which has a smooth forehead like a סולעם. ואין לי אלא הבא ואין לו גבחת. הבא ויש לו גבחת, הבא ואין לו זנב, הבא ויש לו זנב מניין. So we derive only that one who come does not have a smooth forehead, like the arbe, and one that come before a person and has smooth forehead like סולעם, or that will come before a person that has no tail is kosher, since none of the previously mentioned grasshopper has a tail. Now, from where we derive הבא ויש לו זנב מניין, that even that come before a person that has a tail is kosher. תלמוד לומר חרגול, זה ראשון למינהו, להביא את הכרספת ואת השלחנית. So this type, כרספת ושלחנית, that have that also have tails. זה מעין הפרט. ואין לי אלא הבא ואין לו גבחת, הבא ויש לו גבחת. We understand that we derive only that species that come before a person that does not have a smooth forehead, or that come before a person that has smooth forehead. So how about הבא ויש לו גבחת, הבא ואין לו זנב, הבא ויש לו זנב, הבא ואין ראשו ארוך, הבא וראשו ארוך. So how do you know from where it's derived that even one that comes and its head is long is kosher? אמרת, הרי אתה דן בנייניו משלושתם. You derive a paradigm from the three of them as follow. לא ראי הרבה כי חרגול, ולא ראי חרגול כי הרבה, ולא ראי שניהם כי ראי סולם, ולא ראי סולם כי ראי שניהם. הצד השווה שבהם 4 רגליים ו4 כנפיים וקרצולים, וכנפיו חופין את רובו. אף כל שיש לו 4 רגליים ו4 כנפיים וקרצולים, וכנפיו חופים את רובו. So here, the way that you derive the binyan ha'av, the paradigm is as follows. The aspect of the arbe, which has neither smooth forehead nor tail, is not similar to the aspect of hargol, which has both. The aspect of hargol is not similar to the aspect of arbe, and the aspect of neither of them is similar to the aspect of solam, which has a smooth forehead but no tail. And the aspect of solam is similar to neither of their aspects. So the characteristic that renders them all kosher can only be an aspect common to all of them. Their common denominator is that each has 4 legs and 4 wings, and jumping legs, and its wings cover most of its body. So too may other species that has 4 legs and 4 wings and jumping legs, and its wings cover most of its body, is kosher, even if its head is long. So the Gemara asks, והלא הצרצור הזה, יש לו 4 רגליים ו4 כנפיים וקרצולים, וכנפיו חופין את רובו, יכול יהיה מותר? תלמוד לומר, חגב ששמו חגב. So a person might ask, but doesn't this tzartzur have 4 legs, 4 wings, and jumping legs, and its wings cover most of its body? So consequently, one might have thought that it should be permitted. So therefore, the verse states Chagav to indicate that its name must be Chagav. This includes all of the species previously mentioned, but not the tzartzur. So the Gemara asks, that's the last principle. איש שמו חגב, יכול אין בו כל הסימנים הללו. If name must be Chagav, one might have thought that any Chagav is kosher, even one that does not have all these 4 signs. So therefore, Talmud lomar lemineu ve'et ha'chagav lemineu, said after its kind. Here you have the indication that even if it's called Chagav, it's not kosher. Ad sheyehevo kol asimanim alalu, unless it has all these signs. So this includes the Braita of the school of Rabbi Ishmael. As we said, there's a book called Pri Toar to Maran Or HaChaim HaKadosh from Morocco, and he talked about certain chagavim, grasshopper that they use in Morocco. So he adamantly said that because some of those chagavim, grasshoppers, they wings didn't come from the head. So he said, even some argue and said that it's close. He said, as long as it's not directly from the head, it's a problem. He says that arbe is a certain species. They have, sometimes you can see a process, raglaim, knafayim, karsulaim, it's not kosher. If you don't have akol biyachad all together, it's not. And the story that the old generation of Moroccans said that they stopped because of the Maran HaChafetz Chaim, they stopped eating that chagavim, and it was a lot of makot arbe, a lot of plagues of arbe over there, and it stopped. To his time, and everyone saw the righteousness and piety of the great Maran Or HaChaim HaKadosh. פריך רב החי, מה להנח שכן ראשן ארוך? So Rav Achai refutes the Braita. The four signs listed are not sole common denominators between Arbe, Chargon, and Solam. What is also unique about this grasshopper, in addition to these signs, וכי תמח כיוון דשבו בארבעה סימנים מעיתינן ולא פרחינן, יאחי חרגול נמד דשבו לו לא לכתוב ותיתם מהרבה וסולם. What also unique about these grasshopper, in addition to these signs, they are unique in their heads, are not long. If so, grasshoppers with long hand might not be kosher. And if you will say, since they share these four signs, to include all others with these four signs, יחי חגול נמד ישבו לכתוב את תיתם מהרבה וסולם. הרי איקה למפרח מה לנח שכן לנזנה, והכנה מהן איקה למפרח מה לנח שכן ראשן ארוך. We do refute them since they include species not identical in all their aspects. So if that's the case, the Torah should not even write the Chargol, which shares these four signs with the Arbe and Solam, and let it be derived that the Chargol is kosher by inference from the common denominator between Arbe and Solam. So rather it's necessary for the verse to write Chargol, because if it were omitted, its inclusion could be refuted as follows. What is unique about this? The Arbe and Solam, they are unique in that they are both have no tail. Since the Chargol has a tail, its kosher status cannot be inferred from theirs. So too, the inclusion of grasshoppers with long heads can be refuted as follows. What is unique about this? The Arbe, Solam, and the Arbe, Chargol, and Solam, they are unique in that the heads are not long. If so, grasshoppers with long heads might not be kosher. Ela amar Rav Achai, Solam yeterahu. So Rav Achai said, one can derive that grasshoppers with long heads are kosher as follows. The Solam mentioned in the verse is redundant. How so? לא לכתוב רחמנה סולעם ותיתם מהרבה ומחרגול. So let the merciful one, the Torah, not write Solam, and instead let it derive by inference from the common denominators between Arbe and Chargol, that they have 4 legs, 4 wings, jumping legs, and the wings cover most of the body. The mai paracht ma le'arbe de'en lo gabachat. What you can refute this if you said what can derive from the arbe, which unlike Solam does not have a smooth forehead. One can respond, Harei Chargol de'yesh lo gabachat. מה לחרגול שיש לו זנב, הרי הרבה דאין לו זנב. So, but the Chargol, which has a smooth forehead, and you said what's derived from the Chargol, which unlike Solam, has a tail. One can respond, but there is the Arbe, which has no tail. כתב רחמנה למה לי? So if so, why do I need the Solam that the Torah wrote? Rather, if the Solam is not necessary, אם אינו עניין לגופו, for the matter itself, עניין לראשו ארוך. So it's applied to the matter of long-headed grasshopper to teach that it is kosher. So I'd like to conclude with Ramban, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, Nachmanides. He asked, you see in Chagavim, grasshopper, that they have 4 simanim, 4 signs. So lama nikra shmo chagav? So why you care for the name? And he derived from that the whole concept of masoret, that you need a tradition, ish mipi ish, that's basically the core. Otherwise, people can make up stories, and because of the sensitivity in kashrut, therefore you need to have all the components. The Chatam Sofer mentioned the same halach with etrog. You know that etrog have all kind of requirements. They have the okets, they have the sha'akuyot, they have blitot, they have all kind of parts in the etrog that make it in different levels of kashrut. But he said, etrog in general, we have a lot of masorot, and those who have the masoret, the tradition that we know that that's the one that handed over by masoret from one generation to the next, even you have simanim, but you should search for something that have the masoret, the Chatam Sofer said, and for that one you should make the bracha on the etrog for one who has the masoret, because as we said at the very beginning, before anything else, before we talk about simanim, we talk about the masoret.